So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, an autonomic, a relatively advanced wrist release that I know I can do every day of the week if I come in and I'm just demonstrating to students levers. So I'm going to bring up, around, transition, and down. Right, so it looks great. I'm bringing this up, I'm bringing this over, I'm creating a lever. That transitions to here. I keep my hands here. I bring up and over. Now, put my heartbeat at about 200, and you add a little tension on this. And personally, I know I can do it, but if you take somebody that hasn't done it under stress and under tension, and has only done it in a demonstrational environment like most students, and what they're going to do is they're going to go, and then they're going to go back to something that they've done, which is that. And they're going to go back to that because they're just going to use a little bit of strength and speed and very little technique to just get out of it, okay? You put 100% on, you put fight, flight, or freeze where he hits me once, he thumbs me in the eye, he hits me in the groin, whatever it is, then I've moved from autonomic, where I've gone from here to here, blah, 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 to cognitive, where I've started, I've seen this and I'm just going to do it. I've done it before and it kind of worked, to associative, which is this, jerking and pulling, and I'm back to animal beast mode. I'm trying to tackle, I'm trying to do whatever it is. That's why techniques, once you put them under stress, if you don't test them right, like we test them with the directed perceptual testing, that's why techniques, if you don't test them right, fold under pressure very quickly, especially this. Fine motor skill, fine motor skill, fine motor skill, fine motor skill. Gross motor skill, gross motor skill, gross motor skill. Beast mode skill, beast mode skill, beast mode skill. Because the more you go backwards, the more you lose fine motor skills. And then you get back to beast mode skills because you've worked through everything that you know neurologically. Now, I can take you and I can put you in a car. I can give you a second, put you in a car and be like, let's go. Man, and you'll go back through everything that you do when you get in that car because you do that car every single day of your life. But you don't do this every single day of your life. So you will continually run through them. But driving, you can do amazing things with a vehicle that weighs 3 tons. It's 70 miles per hour down the road, and people can brake in front of you, and you will do amazing things that you can't do in combat, even though if I just put you under stress training, it is more serious to be in that car and to react to what's happening for your life than it is in class. But you will pull that off when it's life-threatening more than you will in class because it's something you do every day. Because it's an autonomic skill. Martial arts skills are perishable skills. An autonomic skill. You do it every day. You do an autonomic skill 3,000 to 5,000 times. This right here, you do not do 3,000 to 5,000 times every day. So it becomes perishable, and it perishes even more once you turn the heat up. Just like canned goods, you turn the heat up and it starts to spoil. Then pretty soon, you're just back to killing stuff and eating it off the street because you don't know what to do. That's the basics of what this does, and most people can see it with their techniques and they know it exists. Hey folks, Powell of Pramek.com. One of the things I want to talk about is technique math. You might be wondering what I'm talking about. In our book, The Conceptual Learning Method, we talk about efficient perceptual learning, and we talk about directed perceptual testing. We do that because techniques are very limited, and what I want to show you through math is why your techniques are very limited and why you have to open your mind. Am I saying techniques are bad? No, I teach techniques, but I teach them for a very specific purpose. So let's say that you want to do one technique, right? So if you want to do one technique, number one, single joint articulation neurologically needs 300 to 500 movements to train it. So this right in here, very basic movements right in here is 300 to 500. So we'll say 300 to 500 here. Now, if you make it complex, we're talking 3,000 to 5,000. It's a lot of movements. It's also a lot of movements if all you do is go to class once a week for an hour, and they teach you one technique this way, and you maybe do 300 to 500 of some type of movement or some type of technique, and then the next week you come back and they give you another one. When do you have time to do 3,000 to 5,000 repetitions of a complex movement? It's very difficult to do. So you can already see that it's very difficult neurologically and repetitively to build a neural pathway in order to do one technique. Now what we found is over the life of a person, they can only do a limited number of techniques. And I'm going to show you real fast why. And I'm going to use some acronyms here. You have associative, you have cognitive, and then you have autonomic. So, using these three right here, I'm going to show you why it's so difficult for you to master all these different techniques. Associative is, I watch it on the movies, I see Matt Damon, and he does these neat knife disarms, boom, 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 boom. He does it, and I see him, and I understand what he's doing. So I can do an untold number of these. Over here is this, cognitive. The reason it's cognitive is because I've seen that knife disarm on TV, now I physically do it. I get a cognitive understanding of it. I do it and it creates a result. I do it and it creates a result. And then we have this crazy thing called schema, which is basically our narrowing down of what the result is, our movements that go into it, and so you do it wrong, you do it wrong, you do it right, you do it right, you do it wrong, and you keep working on it. So this right here is all these. And that's just in class. So once you've done all of that, you move to the autonomic state. There's only one problem with this. Every day you get up and you have to adjust a movement that you do. You get into your car, you turn your car on, you put it in reverse, put your hand back, put your seatbelt on. All those are autonomic skills that are going into your neural pathways. Anytime you have to do something repetitively through the week, let's say that you have a new tool at work to do, you have a new chair, whatever it may be, you do that repeatedly throughout the week, but you only go to martial art class once to twice a week, and when you're there, you're learning brand new things that you have to do 3,000 to 5,000 times in order to get this autonomic state. That's difficult. What we found is that is about 300 that you can really do and master. If you look at the top martial artists who can do chains of techniques together, very advanced people, I saw a video the other day, guy looked great, he did about 80. 300 is the most you will see somebody do. Now, but we got some math that's involved in this. So let's say that we bump the heart rate up, right? So we bump the heart rate up to 200. So we break that down in half. Let's say that we put more stress on it. Heart rate's up. Then all of a sudden we start throwing in some real autonomic stress that really freaks you out and makes you go into fight or flight. Now we're about down to 175. And let's say that we put full resistance from your training partner on you the entire time, and he 100% of the time doesn't go with it. I've done results and I've done tests where we do this, and we find that at 50% resistance, this number will go down, and then it will go down, and it will go down, and it will go down. Once you get up to 100%, you're literally 3 times removed from there, and you end up with maybe 30 at the most, but 20. How do we get to 20? Because I'm dividing in half, and I'm dividing in half by the amount of stress. So I just took you from what you see somebody do in your classroom to what you do to try to duplicate it and learn it, and how long it takes, to when you've learned it, the ultimate master, and how he gets down to 20. Now, where are you? Are you at 300? Or are you at 20 here? God, you just went down to 10 and just kept going down. This is why most fights look the same. This is why the most skilled practitioners, when they end up in a real fight, look the same. This is why when you look at MMA and UFC, all the fights look the same. You move from autonomic, which you know very well, to cognitive, which you kind of know, to associative, where you're just throwing shit out. So with this in mind, we developed our own learning system. which is efficient perceptual learning. We take these right here, we program them for very specific purposes, very basic strikes, very basic kicks, very basic headbutts, very basic things that we do. And then we use a different learning process in order to give somebody completely different ways of learning to adapt in combat. If you want to learn about that, feel free to go to our site at pramek.com, and you can click on conceptual learning. The manuals are there. They will teach you even more about this, but they will also teach you how to get around it and how to learn a new way of doing martial art to supplement where you are with this.